Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I'm Randy, and this is another in my series where I go through each year and tell you my favorite album, my favorite song, my favorite movie, and my favorite television show. We're all the way up to 1974. I started in 1950. One caveat is I have to have a physical copy of it in my collection in order to pick it. And with the TV series, they are only eligible their debut season. So let's get to it. 1974. For my favorite album from 1974, the fourth runner-up is The Hoopel from Mott the Hoopel. This ranks right up there with its predecessor, Mott. And even though lead guitarist Mick Ralphs, who helped shape the band's sound, left the band, went on to form Bad Company, Ian Hunter did a masterful job in creating this record with some classic Mott the Hoopel tunes like The Golden Age of Rock and Roll, Crash Street Kids, and the catchy Roll Away the Stone. My third runner-up, Crime of the Century from Supertramp. I'm not a huge Supertramp fan, but I do love this album. It was their third album, and they really came into their own. They became a little more poppy on later albums, which I often don't mind, but it didn't quite work for me as well as with this album. I saw one critic call this the art rock variation of Steely Dan. I don't know if I see that, but I do like the atmospheric and hypnotic feel of this album. To me, their best album, Crime of the Century, Supertramp. My second runner-up, Good Old Boys from Randy Newman. Got the lyrics on the back there. This was actually my first Randy Newman purchase. I was in the Record Club of America, and I don't know if this was one of the things you could choose from, if they just sent you one. I don't even remember now at the time. I think that I picked this one. This was back before the internet, and I had just seen the movie Cold Turkey, and it had the song He Gives Us All His Love on that movie, and I wanted to find it. Found out it was by Randy Newman, but it actually wasn't on this album. It's on Sail Away, but this was my first purchase because I think it was on the records you could pick on Record Club of America. But he takes on a lot of social issues, some of which I didn't really comprehend at the time when I was younger, but his critiques and musings on the American South have resonated more clearly now that I am older. The song about the floods in Louisiana, called Louisiana 1927, is a powerful rumination on the event and has been covered by several other artists. Just a classic album. There's a Louisiana 1927. Yeah, great Randy Newman album. My first runner-up, Jackson Browne's Late for the Sky. There's Jackson there. This is my favorite Jackson Browne album, with Browne's imaginative, introspective lyrics, especially on topics of love and loss. Songs like Fountain of Sorrow, Before the Deluge, and For a Dancer rank right up there with his best compositions. It also is kind of a definitive mood piece, just his masterpiece, I think. Late for the Sky, Jackson Browne. But my favorite album from 1974, guess what? Van Morrison's Bead and Fleece. Now, this is Van's 8th studio album, and the closest in style and scope to my favorite album of all time is Astral Weeks. So it is one that I couldn't overlook. It does have that Celtic feel, that folk rock and stream of consciousness kind of thing going on. Check out the Check out the song Bulbs, the only tune released as a single, and I just don't understand why it wasn't a big hit. But it also has other classics on there like Fair Play, The Streets of Arklow, and You Don't Pull No Punches, but You Don't Push the River, and so many others, and also one that I will talk about later. And now for my favorite song of 1974, the fourth runner-up from this Fleetwood Mac album, Heroes Are Hard to Find, and that's the song Bermuda Triangle. Bob Welch had a fascination with the supernatural and the unexplained, and song is probably the highlight of that interest. Yeah, it says, it describes the Bermuda Triangle. Is it a hole in the ocean or a fog that won't let go? Just a classic song by, got a weird album cover on this Fleetwood Mac album. And if you're wondering, that is Mick Fleetwood on the cover. I think he needs to eat some more cheeseburgers. And then you got Bob Welch right there. My third runner-up from the Crime of the Century album by Supertramp, and it's the second song on there, Bloody Well Right. It was actually the B-side of the single Dreamer, but probably got more airplay than the A-side here in the US. The opening track on the album is School, and then this song kind of continues a rebuke of the education system. But yeah, Supertramp's Bloody Well Right. My second runner-up from the Randy Newman album, Good Old Boys, and it's the last song on there, Rollin'. Somewhat of a respite from the serious social issues tackled on this album. This ending track pictures someone sitting in their chair with a whiskey and watching the world go by. It's a beautiful tune with some fine string arrangements. Yeah, check out Rollin' by Randy Newman. And my first runner-up from Jimmy Buffett's album A1A. It's the song Trying to Reason with the Hurricane Season. This is probably my favorite Jimmy Buffett tune. Another laid-back, relaxed song about needing to take a break from the party lifestyle of a touring musician and resting in his beloved Florida Keys. But he also knows that the weather is getting ready to change and he'll have to go back out on the road. Just a great tune from Jimmy Buffett. On his best album, I think, A1A. But my favorite song is from Van Morrison's Bead and Fleece, and it's Lyndon Arden Stole the Highlights. This is one of Van's most eclectic songs. Is it a murder ballad? There are all kinds of hints located in the stream of consciousness lyrics, but it's kind of prayerfully sung in a reflective falsetto that he used in a few songs, but not often. It's really hard to know what this song means for sure, but it's a beautiful mystery. Lyndon Arden Stole the Highlights. Great Van Morrison song. Now let's get to the movies. I think this was a great year for film. And let's get to my fourth runner-up from 1974. It's Warren Beatty in The Parallax View. This is the Criterion Collection one, Spy Number 1064. But yeah, I do love a good thriller, especially with some conspiracy elements. This one has Warren Beatty as a reporter that keeps investigating a story that he is warned off of and gets in way over his head. It also has a eerie sense of menace in this movie, but yeah, and an unexpected ending. My third runner-up, Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks. This is a special edition, has some great extras. Some of the flubs on here are amazing. He kept messing up every time Cloris Leachman would say one of her lines. She was so good in this one. But like I said, I do love the early Universal horrors from the 30s, and this is a perfect send-up of the films Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, especially Son of Frankenstein. It stars Gene Wilder and Terry Garr, who never looked better, but also has this on-the-spot casting of the character actors, Marty Feldman, like I said, Cloris Leachman, Madeline Kahn, and Peter Boyle as the monster that put this way over the top. It's a great, and also has a great cameo by Gene Hackman, one of the funniest films, and I think Mel Brooks' best. My second runner-up is The Conversation, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. This is a great addition. This may be Gene Hackman's best performance, a devastating glimpse into a secretive surveillance expert whose current wiretapping job convinces him that the couple he is observing is going to be murdered. Hackman's paranoid sensibilities later get the best of him when he starts to feel that he is being watched. Just a great classic film, The Conversation. And to show you what a great year this was, I have as my first runner-up The Godfather Part 2. This is the Godfather trilogy. You can see The Godfather Part 2 is the second disc in here. There are some that think Godfather Part 2 is better than the first one. I'm not one of those, but it is a fantastic movie. I love the two storylines as we see the beginnings of the Corleone family in the U.S. with Robert De Niro, and then the rise of Michael Corleone with Al Pacino. It also has a great supporting cast. It's just a masterpiece. Another two great ones by Francis Ford Coppola in 1974. But there is another masterpiece released this year with flawless plotting, perfect scene composition, and amazing casting. And that is Chinatown, directed by Roman Polanski. Everything works in this engrossing detective thriller with Jack Nicholson getting caught up in a complicated mystery. This is one of my all-time favorite movies with one of the best closing lines in cinema history. Yeah, Chinatown, masterpiece. So now on to television. This was also a great year for television as it has three of my all-time favorites in this year. But anyway, let's get to my fourth runner-up, and that's Policewoman. This series starred Angie Dickinson, there she is, as Detective Sergeant Pepper Anderson, and usually undercover, investigating the seamy side of life on the streets. It seemed more adult than many other police dramas at the time, and oh yeah, Angie Dickinson. My third runner-up is Petrochelli. This starred Barry Newman as Harvard-educated lawyer, as a Harvard-educated lawyer, and Susan Howard as his wife, who set up practice in a small Arizona town. One thing I always remember is that he would always put an out-of-order sign on the parking meter trying to avoid tickets. Newman and Howard had great chemistry, and also starred Albert Salmi as his investigator. Just fantastic series, Petrochelli. But these next three are three of the best, I think. And my second runner-up is Colch, The Night Stalker. This series came after two successful TV movies, two of the best in my opinion, starring Darren McGavin, there he is, as news reporter Carl Kolchak, who always ends up investigating mysterious crimes. It's kind of a monster or supernatural event of the week. Format was certainly an inspiration for the X-Files. It's a shame it only lasted one season. It was a great one with Darren McGavin. My first runner-up in any other year might be number one, but it's Harry O. This is my second favorite detective series of all time, with David Jansen as Harry Orwell, a former cop and now a private detective. Two pilot movies preceded this in 1973, but I'm going with 1974 when the series really started. He always had a bit of humor, and I loved his voiceover narration. And his next-door neighbor during the first season was Farrah Fawcett. But yeah, classic TV series, Harry O. But my favorite TV series from 1974 is indeed the Rockford Files. Yep. This is my all-time favorite TV series of any kind of series, I think, with James Garner being such a natural, which played great on TV. In this, he is Jim Rockford, an ex-con turned private detective. The show had a lot of humor, as Rockford always liked to make smart-ass comments to the hired muscle and police brass, which usually got him in trouble. Luckily, he had a friend in the police department and a pretty lawyer played by Gretchen Corbett. The best detective series ever, in my opinion, the Rockford Files. Thanks for watching. I'd love to see in the comments what your picks would be, maybe some that I forgot. And I'll see you in 1975.